Well, I'm afraid to bore you guys with all these technical discussions, but you know, I'm still researching these heavy axles, and I'm sitting in Estevan, Saskatchewan, at a Husky truck stop, and right next to me there's a truck with a three-axle flatbed trailer. So I went over to ask the guy, what kind of axles they put on the truck, and he has a older Kenworth. Uh, and at first he just didn't understand the question. Then he says, "What do you mean heavy?" I said, "Well, like 12,000, 40, or like what do you guys usually use?" And I think this guy was the driver, and then also some other guy showed up, and that guy acted like he was the owner. Um, Something was wrong with this guy's engine. Anyway, and he said, "I think it's 44,000 in the back and 12 in the front." But anyways, they said, yeah, mostly most guys in Alberta, they just use regular axles. And so basically, no one knows for sure. So what I did is, and why you're staring at the map of the United States is because a lot of times I get the advice, and I feel it's wrong because it's from American drivers. No offense, but they don't realize that I'm going back and forth between Canada and U.S. or that I'm moving across many states. Let's say I can pick up a load here somewhere in Maryland and go to Ontario, or I can pick up a load in Houston and go to Alberta. Where is it? Over here, Calgary. So I pass a lot of jurisdictions, and it's really important, to have a truck that will work in all of them, not just one jurisdiction. I'm not just based, let's say, in Oklahoma and hauling stuff throughout Oklahoma. And also, what American guys don't realize is that in Canada, the legal weights are much higher. Like lots of times, if you bring in a load from US, you don't even need a permit. I mean, I'm talking about overweight, because our legal loads here are much higher. For example, we are in Ontario. Now they allow 16,000 pounds on the front axle. No permit is required. So anyway, what I did, I opened my Atlas, Rand McNally Deluxe 2010, and I kind of simulated two trips, because I live in Ontario, and the big place, for like good heavy loads is Maryland, in particular the port of Baltimore, right? So I just decided, hey, I'm gonna look at this particular trip. Let's say I want to pick up something in Baltimore and truck through Maryland, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and deliver in Ontario. So will having 46,000 pound tandems help me? And to answer that question, I use a book called Oversized Reference Book 2012. And what I did, I just opened and I looked up all these states that I would be passing on this imaginary trip. MD, PA, OH, and MI, and Ontario. And I looked at the maximum tandem weights. But again, not legal weights, but what's the maximum you can get with a permit, with the oversized permit. And guess what? Maryland, well, the book didn't say how much specifically, but they did say not more than 30,000 per axle. So I assume you can do at least 46. Now Pennsylvania, with a permit, allows 52,000 pounds. Let me say that again, 52,000 pounds. So if you have a 40,000 pound axle, guess what? You're only getting 40,000 because you cannot go above your factory rating, right? And if you have 46, that's a good thing. So now you can put 6,000 pounds more compared to the guy that has 40,000, a regular axle. So far so good, right? So we pick up a heavy load in Maryland. They would give you credit for the 46,000 pound axle. Pennsylvania would give you credit. you can haul extra weight. Now Ohio, guess what? 47,000 pounds. So 46 would be very handy here. And then Michigan allows 50,000 pounds on the rear. See? So if for this particular trip from the port of Baltimore through PA, Ohio, and Michigan, I would be better off having a heavy axle. Why? Because I can haul a heavier load with the same, let's say, 3 plus 3, 6 axles, 3 on the truck, 3 on the trailer. So, you know, that's the I don't trust this book too much, but I think as far as tandems go, it's more or less accurate, because it still shows steer axle limits for Ontario is 12,000 pounds, which is no longer accurate. It's 16,000 pounds now. But let's just check, let's say, another route, because sometimes I go to Texas and there's not that many loads out of there to go back to Ontario, but what they do have is lots of loads to Western Canada. So most of these loads are coming either out of Laredo or Houston, or sometimes even out of what's that other place there? I think Reno. No, wait, Reno is in Nevada, so wrong state. But anyway, so let's say I pick up a load in Houston, something heavy, and I want to take it to Calgary, Alberta, right? So I can go through Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, Montana, or I can go through Oklahoma. Now, Texas allows 46,000 pounds with a permit on the tandem, right? So it helps to have a 46K tandem. New Mexico allows 46, Colorado 50,000, Wyoming 55, and Montana 40. And that's where we have a problem. So if I pick up a load where my let's say the lowest 46, right, the factory rating on my tandems, let's say I pick up a heavy load in Houston, Texas, and I'm going to Calgary, and I have 46 on my tandems. As soon as I cross into Montana, I'm in trouble, because they only allow 40 with a permit. But wait, maybe there's another way. Maybe we can go around. How about if we go through Oklahoma? Oklahoma allows 40,000. Not good. How about if we go through the same New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, but then we cross into Nebraska and go north towards Canada? Okay, Nebraska allows 40,000 pounds. Not good. Forget that. Okay, from Wyoming, we are crossing into South Dakota, and then North Dakota, and then into Canada. How about that? So South Dakota allows 46,000 pounds. Wow, that's great. What about North Dakota, where all those oil fields are? I would think that those guys would be liberal with tandem weights. North Dakota, according to my reference book, allows 45,000 pounds. See? So if I had 46,000 pound tandem, basically based on these two examples, I'd be better off from Baltimore, Maryland going to Ontario, and from Houston, Texas going to Alberta. I would have to take a slight detour to bypass the states where the limits are low, and that's Montana, Oklahoma, and Nebraska. But I could still take a pretty heavy load, you know, to Alberta. So I don't know. From what I can see, it does help to have heavy axles, at least in the back. Thanks for watching.